Ready? Hello and welcome to Masters University Live, a Masters edition. This is an interactive talk show where we put your questions to the task for a whole panel. Today we're talking about career prospects and the possibilities you can have with a Masters program. If you do not know your Masters program yet, or you're still looking around, don't worry, this is also for you because you can find new ways of looking at Masters. Now, let me first introduce myself. I'm the host, Stef Nagel, and I will be guiding this panel through a few questions that you can ask and some that we have here on our piece of paper. What's more important, you can also sign in via Skype and ask us a question live. Now, first let me introduce my co-host, Velina Pinchava. Could you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Velina Pinchava. I'm a bachelor student from Bulgaria. I came here 2 years ago and I'm in my second year and I'm looking for a master at the moment. So I feel like I have some knowledge that I can help prospective master students with. And yeah.
Thank you. And so our second panel member here is Jessie Bakens from ROA. Could you tell us something about that and yourself?
Yes, my name is Jessie Bakens. I'm a researcher at the Research Center for Education and the Labor Market, and that's the research center here at the university at the School of Business and Economics. And our main research focus is on the interconnectedness of education and the labor market.
All right, thank you. And then our third panel member, Denise Valerius from the Alumni Office. Could you tell us something about your work?
Yeah, I am Alumni Officer for Maastricht University. Within the Alumni Office, we try to stay in touch with our 75,000 alumni all over the world. And we do so by organizing events and informing them on developments and offering them a network to connect.
Thank you. So then maybe your first personal question, like, was this the job you had in mind when you started your studies yourself?
Me?
Jessie, yeah?
No, actually not. I didn't have a full career planned ahead of me. I only realized during my studies that I liked to do research, that I liked to write my thesis, and that's how I kind of rolled into doing a PhD and becoming a researcher.
Okay. So making a career was not really, immediately part of it, right? Or maybe throughout your studies?
No, I think like during my studies, of course, you constantly think like, do I like this topic or don't? And then you kind of adjust your expectations and things. But I think as a student, you're constantly thinking about your career.
Yeah. So then would you say that career prospects are important for master's students, like to think about them already a little bit?
Yes, I think it's important to think about your career and in terms of what you like to do, but also what you're good at, but also what your labor market prospects are for the study that you pick, for the master that you pick.
But then would you say that, is it easy for master students to find work?
Now in the Netherlands, at ROA, we make labor market forecasts for the coming 6 years, and we see that generally speaking, for master students, the labor market is very good. Like the chances of finding a job are very good.
Okay, thank you. So Denise, a question for you would be then, we often talk about the word employability, and it's going to come up a little bit more in this live stream as well. So how would you define this term? Maybe we can both have some perspectives on that.
Yeah, well, within Maastricht University, we consider it of great importance that our students work on their future employability. So we offer a variety of workshops, classes, extracurricular events to help them improve it. Employability is, of course, about setting goals for your future. Being able to make your plans for your future and giving them a sharp definition. So the career counseling we offer help students, prospective students, achieve that goal and keep them adaptable for future labor market. It's also about lifelong learning and being able to adjust to different circumstances for the future.
So
since life's changing. Yeah.
Okay, so but that's also the way then how Maastricht University helps students find employability, right?
Yeah, well, we support like I said, we offer a variety of masterclasses, workshops connected to how to improve your employability. An example, for example, is the Master Yourself, where we introduce master students to companies in the area where they can attend workshops, but also connect to people working there. So that's also a preparation for your labor market position.
Mm.
Yeah.
Does it like is it for all different kind of masters?
Yes, yes. So it's especially when looking at it from the alumni office perspective, we are there for all the community, for all the programs, all study programs, all disciplines.
So it doesn't matter if you're in FHML,
No.
FASOS, or
No.
anything. You can still come and
Join us, yes. For example, for the Master Yourself, as I mentioned, but also for our Coach Cafe, which is also a very interesting event for people joining and trying to meet up with senior alumni who are there to help students and recent graduates to achieve things like what's your dream, what's your talent, how will you make that next step to achieve your goals. And the combination of senior alumni, professionals who have been active longer in the labor market in the region is a very good connection. Yeah.
And how can people contact you, or like your?
Yeah. Well, we do have a website which everybody has, which is Maastricht University/alumni, or send us an email through alumni@Maastricht University.
I think that's very good. A good point here. What I would like to say to the chat that's now happening: if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them. We have a team of students now that are taking your questions and answering them in a different room. We may have them on video, or maybe not, but you can ask questions there. And we're now going to the panel debate. So you're watching Maastricht University Live, an interactive talk show with 4 students that are looking for master programs here at Maastricht University. Now, Jessie, you talked already that you were part of ROA. And would you be able to give us some figures about the job prospects for master students?
Yes. Well, at ROA we have from the University of Maastricht we have an alumni survey, and we know from this survey that after 1.5 years after graduation that 95% of the graduates have a job. And of course, like having a position, it means like you have a job, but you can also look at whether you have a job at the master level that you required. And then we see that almost 80% of the graduates have a job at the master level, and 75% of the graduates have a job that is in the field of study that they did.
So this is for UM, of course, these numbers. How does this compare to the rest of the Netherlands, like other universities there?
It's very comparable,
Okay.
basically. Yeah.
So then my €1 million question then is, how do you work towards employability during your master? How should students approach this? Maybe this is a question.
Yeah.
You know, I can start by saying that from research in which we also ask employers what they find important, it's of course that, you know, a prerequisite to get a job is that you have the specific knowledge that you need for the job, right? You need the field-specific knowledge. However, we also know that that's not enough. You also need specific personal skills. Mm-hmm. And the skills that are becoming very important are analytical skills. So these are problem-solving skills and interpersonal skills, your social skills. So the combination of these two are becoming very important as well.
And this is something you probably should also work on already when you're in your bachelor's, right? Like.
Yes, it makes sense to invest in them as soon as you can.
Maybe that's a question to you then. What do you do outside of studying that may help these skills develop?
Well, for example, I work, one thing, and I think that creates a lot of social contact. Another thing is, well, for me personally, the way I've been looking into my master is by talking with my mentor. That is provided by Maastricht University, and with him I've been discussing more options, and with my study advisors. Besides that, I've been just generally checking the web pages of the universities, and the bachelor is a very broad thing. So you really need to zone in on the one thing that you like, because the bachelor offers you a lot of freedom.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you can find yourself and you can find what actually interests you, and that's what I've been doing so far, trying to find that one thing that is going to make me happy in the future, and not, you know, go to a job where I don't feel like I want to go there.
So Denise, a question to you then. Do students that graduates, alumni, find jobs in the field of study that they graduated in?
Well, that's for me difficult to say because I don't have the exact figures. Mm-hmm. In general, what my personal answer would be to that is that the field of study you can also look at it from a broader perspective. For example, within the alumni office, we also have a interview series where we interview people who have done one study, and we call it One Study, Three Jobs, because we interview alumni having done the same study program, but ending up in quite different jobs. Is that bad? I don't think so. I think it's quite interesting to see where people end up with the same program. So if people are interested in finding out about those opportunities from, then can definitely look at our website and check what are the options there. So in general, I think there's also the feeling of a broad academic education and an interesting future ahead of you.
But then a question I would have is, if you want to do something different than what you studied, do master students still like the study that they've done? Would they do it again?
Oh yeah, I think that's probably something Jetsi could
Yes,
answer.
I think it's about 75% of the people that we have in the questionnaire, they say that they would choose the same study again.
Yeah.
So in Maastricht University, for the people that don't know, we have, of course, problem-based learning, which is a way of tackling real-world problems in a small group of people, like 15 people, which is completely different from a setting where you would be in a huge lecture hall, just listening, taking in information, but you're actually working with it. That's my experience, at least, and I think also for you. But does this also give you a competitive edge when you're going looking for jobs? Does this PBL learning idea?
Well, of course, we just talked about the development of your interpersonal skills, your problem-solving skills, your analytical skills, and this is, of course, something that you can very well train with this problem-based learning, right? So it potentially gives you this competitive edge if you work with this, yes.
Okay. So I've been seeing some chats coming in already with questions. Keep them coming, don't worry, we'll answer them in a bit and we'll actually take some live. But before we go there, I still have some questions left that we have to do. So Jessie, for you, because you're doing the work at the ROA, so can you tell us about the chances of employment in the Limburg region, or more broadly speaking, like what are the chances in this region for people?
I don't know the numbers for that, but I do know that you have from the alumni office some more information on people that stay in the region, basically.
Yes, we always have draw the circle of 100 kilometers alongside our university, and within that range we have 38,000 alumni living from the total population. 36 of alumni living in that region are non-Dutch and international background, so to say.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, because there was a report recently that said that 25% of international students actually stay in the Netherlands for work.
Yes.
And I wonder then, how does this work for the UM? So that would be that number, or is that comparable?
Yeah, well, in general, the region which I described is, of course, an international region. We are situated at the border, so that's a different compared to Utrecht, for example. So yes, but it's comparable. Yeah,
Okay.
International students tend to like to stay as well and want to stay, and if there's jobs available.
Is that? Do you think that's also, you know, as I'm Dutch myself, so I don't have the same idea, of course, but like, why would people stay in the Netherlands, or why would they stay in Maastricht? Like,
yes, well, I always say, and that's quite personal, there's only two reasons why you would like to stay somewhere where you were not originally from, and that's either work, which is important, but the other one is love, of course. And with the 14th of February, that's quite a,
Valentine's Day right around the corner. So
it's quite near, yeah. So no, love is definitely one of the, and of course there's a lot of opportunity to meet the love of your life in Maastricht.
That's really nice, yeah. Do you experience this as well this way? Like, do you want to stay after you work here or after you studies in the Netherlands?
Well, specifically for my case, Bulgaria has one of the lowest average salaries, and in comparison to the Netherlands, the Netherlands has great salaries. Like the minimum salary I think was 1,000 and something euros, which I think is great, and that would definitely motivate me, especially because I've invested so much money so far into my studies that at this point I feel like it's worth it to just stay. And I think the way the employers treat you are very fair, and I cannot complain so far. I've been working for a year and a half and it's been great. And yeah, so
Maybe even continue after that.
I mean, people should, and the other reason you mentioned, love, you have to think though, if you can't find a job, love is like,
No, that's true.
not
That won't last long then.
yeah, no.
No, you're
But-
right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But I think finding jobs, even as a student, it's not that difficult. You just, have to look for your match.
That's quite true.
As is with
Yeah,
love.
yeah, no, that's actually
See,
quite
you
true.
just-
But then maybe just, I don't know if you know anything about this, but just like, are there many English-speaking opportunities in this region? Because it's such a, we're central in Europe, like Germany is close by, we're right next to Belgium, France is really close, so it makes sense that there would also be options in that department, right?
Yes, of course. Well, there are like English-speaking employers in the region, but I don't really know a lot about this specific issue. However, the alumni do say that they work in international environments, many of them, so that might be an indication that it's, it's at least an international company. And we also know that the graduates end up working in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in Germany, the UK, so yeah.
Interesting, really interesting. So, for the people that are just tuning in right now, this is Maastricht University Live, a Master's Edition, an interactive talk show where we talk about career prospects for Master's students. And we've had some panel debate or discussion already, some interesting questions. And we're now going to answer some of your questions. I don't know if you found anything already, but
I
let me
think
check
there's
on
an
my
issue with
own.
mine.
I will check with my chat then to see if there's any questions from the people that are listening. So at the moment there's still not enough questions to answer yet, but if you have questions, do not hesitate to ask them. Which I think leads me to say, well, other things. Maybe a personal question. I don't think I will do something with my studies later when I'm starting my work. And how many people actually, do that? Like, how many people actually go somewhere completely different? Do you know anything about this?
Well, I think Jessie has some figures on the connection between the level of your education and the level of your job, your current job. In general, I think it's not negative to say so, but maybe you can address that, Jessie, in the figures.
Look, what we see obviously is that, for example, if you study to be a dentist, most of the people become a dentist. Or if you study to be a doctor, most people become a doctor. Yeah. But what you also see, if you study sociology or business or something, you can end up in many different professions. And it's very difficult to tell, like, the fact that you see this basically means that maybe your education actually is suitable for these different professions, right? That there is something from your education that you do use for these professions. It's just that you see that some programs just make people be very diverse in the labor market. Or like if you're an economist, you can end up working at the government, you can end up working in a commercial company, you can, and
so it's not just that if you want to do, you're doing something for university, it doesn't mean that you end up in academia or something academia related immediately, right? Like that's most of the time.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Yeah. Do we have some questions? I think you saw something.
Yeah, but it's more specific ones, I guess. Someone asked, what are the job prospects post-master in psychology in the Netherlands? And I think that's a very specific question.
Yeah, it's a very specific, but of course I can, if the person asking, I'm not sure what the name is.
Tanya?
If Tanya would like to know a bit more about that she can contact me through the alumni office. And we can do I can have a look into our data we have on jobs and information and study people have done, and I can then help her. So if she just sends us an email, I'll be happy to help her.
Also, do you have any information about scholarships?
Scholarship like for studies?
I think so.
Oh, no, the information on scholarships within the university for prospective master's students can be found at the scholarship office. Would you like me to share the email address here, or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it would
is
be
that
useful.
okay?
It's going to be a line in the
Okay.
in the, at
Okay,
the bottom
so
of the
show
screen.
you, so Tanya will get the information whenever it's available.
Yeah.
And if we have the labor market prospects for the coming 6 years, I say like generally for master students, they're good. And of course, like you also hear, like there's a shortage basically for technical personnel, STEM workers.
That's
There's-
actually a question that's now
and-
being raised. It's
And for if you have, for example, because I have it here in front of me, if you have more psychology lined educations, they are fair. Like we name them fair, basically.
that's exactly the question I was just going to ask. Like, how are the job prospects for psychology and neuroscience, psychology in the Netherlands? So
I don't know that for that specific studies from that faculty, but they are
the same
fair.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a general question for you, Velina. How did you pick a bachelor's program?
Oh, well,
Long time ago.
yeah, 3 years ago, kinda. But ever since I was little, I'm from a doctor family, so I knew I was interested in medicine-related topics, but I didn't really want to do medicine. So I was looking into the Netherlands generally because I know it's not that expensive and I know it's international student friendly. So I was looking at the Netherlands, the universities and their programs, and the only one that struck me as more biological is biomedical sciences in Maastricht. And at the time when I was looking, it was only in English in Maastricht. So it was very easy actually to choose, and I was going to open days here and there, to check all of the options because you need to make an informed choice. And I don't know, I just loved the city. I loved the medieval, churches and things. And I've never been told from anyone, you need to speak Dutch. Because I know that's a big problem for internationals here. But you can manage with basic Dutch knowledge. Nobody's going to force you except if you actually need it for work or your master is in Dutch or something, then you're going to need the Dutch.
Then I also have another question, maybe more in general. Like, while looking into master programs in the Netherlands and being a non-EU citizen, I've read about an orientation year that allows for 1 year stay permit to sure for work. Do you have any further information on this permit or how likely it would be to find a career within the first year after graduation?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can say something about it, but the more specific details, because also legislation changes.
Of course,
so
definitely.
The information I have is already from a year ago. I would advise this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, there's no name.
There's no name.
Okay, to contact us because there are possibilities. There,
I think Alexa.
Okay.
Alexa, okay, Alexa, this is for you. There are possibilities to have time to find a job, but the exact amount of time, the time slot there, can be answered by our student services department, the international service test. They for sure know the answer to this, so I'm sure that will be in the notes of the program
for sure,
afterwards.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I think we already answered this question a little bit. Like, what are the figures for finding a career in the first year after graduation? I think.
And for which programs is this?
It doesn't say. So
In general.
In general, I think.
Yeah, I think in general we had let me check it again, 95%.
Yeah.
That's a job. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
And I have some
you have
other
one more?
question
Okay.
about PhD opportunities. Do you know?
I think we're going to go into
about
this
that?
after this. So that's actually a really nice way of saying, like, we're going to see 2 videos
Okay.
now about that the alumni office made, and then we'll be right back after that to continue our discussion about anything. Is this working? I don't know if it's working.
Is it off?
All right.
Still have the bars on the screen.
Oh, I wanted to say, like, when you were talking about the
fade to them, fade to them otherwise. Okay, fade to them, fade to them. To the student. You're back. Come on.
We're already back because we just want to continue. We can continue our own program here. If you just joined us right now, we're doing Master University Live, a Master's edition, and we're talking about career prospects for Master students and people that just want to know more about Master programs in general. So in the second part, we're going to continue our talk about well, the career prospects, of course. And you already mentioned, Velina, about PhDs. So how do you see a PhD, Jessie?
Yeah, your PhD is kind of a combination of working and investing a lot in yourself, right?
Mhm.
Studying, developing your research skills. So I think it's both, right? However, I should also say that nowadays, even if you don't do a PhD, but you just get a job, like learning and continue to learn is part of life, basically, right?
Basically.
So I think, like, yeah, doing a PhD is a huge investment in yourself.
But is it also, so does it actually help improve your career prospects?
Well, obviously, if you want a career in academics, you should get a PhD. But there are also very many other institutes or companies with research departments that require PhDs for certain positions. And you also know that people that get a PhD, like not nearly half or I mean, like, not everybody becomes a professor, right?
Makes
so
sense.
many people leave academics and go into other jobs with their PhD.
Is there actually a number for how many PhD, like the percentage of people that are doing a PhD? Is that statistics on that?
From the top of my head, at the I think it's about 19 or 20% of the graduates do a PhD.
Okay.
But it's very different across the faculties.
So probably more in STEM research, I suppose.
At health and
Yeah,
medicine.
exactly. Yeah. So, but does it also make sense then to consider a PhD while choosing a master program? Because
well, I think if you do know that you want to do a PhD, it might be wise to choose for a research master.
Mhm.
Or yeah.
How do they differ from normal masters then? In what way, maybe? Like
They're more focused
on
on
going into a
research
PhD.
and doing they're really like the master that prepares you to do the PhD.
Mhm. So yeah, that's actually really interesting because I'm not maybe the most interested in PhDs, but what? Oh, there's a Skype question. Okay, so we have a Skype question. I don't know.
It's on WhatsApp.
It's on my WhatsApp. All right. Then there is a Skype message, but I don't know where the question comes in. I don't know if we can see that person. I don't know. Like
Well, some people
Oh.
want to know the criteria for applying for a PhD. Do you know about that?
For applying for a PhD, there I have to pass. Maybe that's a question you can answer. It will differ.
Or like some criteria or something?
It will differ for PhD, position to position. Of
Well,
course.
you need to have your master's
Yeah,
degree.
that's basic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually also because I was thinking about this the other day. Like, you cannot do a PhD after a few years of work, right? So you have to do it. You can?
No, you can.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you can just come back to UM and say like, "Hi, I've worked for a few years."
Of
Oh,
course,
sure.
yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's not. Let's say like there are some fields in which that's more common
Mhm.
than other fields, but it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
There are people who combine the professional life
Yes.
in the labor market with pursuing a PhD degree.
Okay.
So they do it part-time or longer. So I actually have a
Yeah.
colleague who's pursuing a PhD aside his work. So yeah.
okay. Is that also that's also something Do master students really consider this wider range of things? Like, okay, I'm going to work and I'm going to do a PhD. I'm going to do master students actually think of these things when they choose their master program? Is there any data on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
No. In general, maybe if you look at yourself, were you
Yeah.
even aware of that it was a possibility?
What I personally did was just like, okay, I want to finish my studies, I want to do a master, and I had like the basic guidelines of life figured out, but that was basically it for me. I never really micromanaged everything.
But how did you choose your master?
So for me, it's really funny actually, because I'm doing a master's at UniMerit, so that's Public Policy and Human Development. Really fun master, but the way I found it was basically on the back of a magazine, and I just got interested. It was the perfect match. Like I really enjoyed doing it. So.
And when you were considering masters, who did you turn to for advice?
That's actually really interesting. I just asked around. I've asked my mentor from my bachelor to guide me with this, and I've asked some professors about this, but that was basically it. There was nothing, specific that I did. Just about looking. I don't know about that Skype one, if it's still coming on or not, but let's move on to the next questions then. So, Bob, I think we still. Do you have any more questions actually from the panel?
Yeah, not really.
Okay. That's because
Someone asked why education system, why the education system in the Netherlands is so hard.
Is that a real question? And hard being tough. Yeah, difficult. Did you experience that? Did you find the switch from Bulgaria to the Netherlands a difficult one?
Yes, because I wasn't used to actually having to study as much. So then when I came here, and I was staying in the library for hours, but it wasn't really productive for me. I was reading and nothing was getting in my brain. So it was a difficult time, and you need to fail a bit so you can actually succeed. It's not a step back, it's just how life works. So, I learned with time how to actually manage my own time, because I was very distracted and I had to go to a study advisor to help me with that. But it is, and I've heard from other people as well, that Maastricht is a difficult university, but that's why it's so high ranked, I think. And the PBL system that we have, I think it also serves in your future life, as I think you said at the beginning, that problem solving is one thing that like employers look for. Yeah. So you can handle things and they don't really have to hold your hand all the time. So you learn how to think and how to connect things. So I think the PBL system is a great help regarding your future. Doesn't matter if you're staying here, going somewhere or anything, it's still going to be of use. And as Steph said, that he might not use his degree, but you still...
I mean, I'm not saying that I won't use it. It's just something that I haven't looked into yet, maybe.
Yeah, but you still you still gained a lot of skills from your whole university experience and from your master and from the bachelor, which are going to be useful. Learning how to work in a group, for example. For sure. Yeah. Because a lot of other places I've heard is just individual work, so teamwork and learning how to deal with others, how to compensate and stuff.
They also ask still a question for you, Velina. Can you tell us about the extracurricular student activities that you're doing?
Me? Well, I'm not a very active person. A lot of my friends go to, for example, Sports, which is the sport facility that we have here. And there's a ton of classes like yoga, basketball, and whatnot. And I hear that's very good for them. Also, like joining some teams. There's also the associations that we have for each study.
Sure, definitely, yeah.
But besides that, it's just whenever you have free time, you either work or you go to parties with friends or travel. Traveling is also a thing that I do more than sports because we're situated so close to everything else. It's just like 7 hours to Paris. And whenever you get bored, you can just, get on the bus and just, go.
Is this also something, moving on from that, that alumni feel the same way? Like, do you have a survey for alumni that they have to fill in after they're done with their masters?
And to what specific, like...
Yeah, it's the feeling they had about Maastricht in general. Like,
well, what I can say about that if people like to stay connected to our university, to our community, which our alumni like to do, because we have about 2,000 visitors for our events worldwide. It's always because they all have this common feeling of Maastricht, and alumni relations or being graduate, it's not about hard sciences, but it's about feeling and staying connected and looking back at the good time, hopefully, and reminiscing on the past together with your fellow alumni, wherever you are, which is, I think, is a great opportunity.
Yeah. And is that also something like the places people go and they come back and they tell about this? Is how wildly different things are people doing when they
Where they
end up? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have 120 nationalities and people living all over the world. The alumni office hosts alumni chapters, 32 chapters all over the world, and alumni living there can organize events to network together. So although you may have left Maastricht, you're still connected with your fellow alumni through these events we organize.
Yeah. You said there was a question, maybe?
Yeah, from Katerina. She's saying that she's hoping to take a gap year before going to PhD and trying to find a job in academia or research. And she's asking if we can talk a bit about the opportunities for research positions after your master.
I think that's maybe something for you, Jessie.
Well, I must say that I don't know for the university what the research positions are. Yeah.
Maybe something that we can ask, like if this question.
But I think like you could ask them.
Yeah, there's something which is called academic transfer, and all vacancies within the university are available there. There's also a vacancy board within the student services department, where vacancies available at the moment, like student jobs.
Yeah, that's how I found my job.
Yeah. So the student jobs are available too, and also for international students.
Okay. Is there another question still, maybe, or?
Well, she's also asking, does the university facilitate somehow the application process?
For a research, no?
For a job in general?
Yeah, I think for the research opportunities after the master.
Well, in general, for applications for a job, we do offer support in that sense that we offer workshops, working on your CV, job application workshops, and they're all free. So there's a lot of workshops available. Just check our website. And so there's that part of help. The real application in the sense that, like reference letters, of course, if I have a student assistant working for my office, we can write a reference letter and handing it to the future employee. But in the sense that we help write the application, I don't think so, but maybe you have different experience.
No, I don't know for each faculty how it works. But for example, for PhD positions, there are specific moments in the year that you can apply for them.
Yeah. So maybe a question then, how is ROA connected to the UM? Because I probably forgot to figure this. Like how does that work? So
what?
Like ROA, how is it connected to the UM and what possibility? Your office?
Oh my! Yeah. We are a research institute, and we are just part of the faculty at the School of Business and Economics.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's
and we do a lot of policy research for the Netherlands, and also broader just academic research. But we are
So it's also like you're not hiring students that are still doing their masters, or maybe
yes. We have research students.
Oh, okay,
yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Another question.
And PhD students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question that just came in is like, how's the housing situation in Maastricht? That's maybe more a general question. I don't know how you guys look at that. I have my way of talking about that, but
we're not students.
Yeah, so I don't know if you.
No, in general, I think there's not a great issue on finding housing, but maybe you don't agree.
The problem is that when I started to look for housing was when I was doing my bachelor's here, and it was way easier back then, I would say, than now. But I think what's actually really interesting for master students to know is that if as soon as you know you want to go to Maastricht, already start looking for houses and don't do it in
Yeah,
September.
That's it. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
as soon as you think, oh, it's September, I now start looking, it's going to be really hard
Yeah.
to find something.
I mean, it's still not gonna be that hard, but it's gonna be way much more expensive than if you start
Definitely.
earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which is just unfortunate because you can find houses for a relatively nice price.
Yeah, I started looking in March.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
March, and I
yeah.
was starting university in September.
exactly. I did the
And-
same. Yeah.
Yeah, and I found a room in like an apartment with 4 other girls, and it was like 250 euros per month.
Nice.
So that was great.
So I think we can move to the 2 alumni videos. We're going to try it again. Last time it didn't really work out, but we will be right back after those 2 videos.
Okay. Ja, ja, ja. Okay. No.
I know.
No audio, sorry. No audio. No audio. So I'll go back to you. That sucks. Okay, fade to you and continue.
So apparently the audio issue, we have some audio issues. That's a bit unfortunate, but we can continue our talk. I think you said there were some more questions about
Yeah,
housing actually.
Tanya, I think again, or is it another Tanya? I don't know. But she's asking which areas do you recommend looking for housing?
With areas, as in the city, around
I
the city.
think so. That's what she means, and it depends on if you want to live close to your faculty or not.
That's the most important one.
For example, FHML is separate from the other ones. It's on the other side of the river, and that's where I'm studying. So I live on the other side, which I think is generally the cheaper side.
I have no clue because
I think it's the
Yeah,
cheaper
is
side.
it?
Yeah.
It is because it's not in the center, so you know.
it also depends on opportunity, right? So as soon as you find something or you hear something and you can jump right on it, just do it immediately because that's the way to go about it.
And
But-
then on the other hand, Maastricht isn't that big a city
No.
that
No.
you would suffer living on the other side.
No,
I mean, it's like
definitely
only
not.
a 10
Though
minutes,
biking is
10 minutes
is
bike.
difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you don't want to bike, take the bus. I don't bike.
don't?
Yeah, no, I don't. Everyone is.
I always
making fun of
walk.
me. Yeah, I always walk
Yeah,
as well.
it's easier.
We have a question from Clara. How much does it cost to live in Maastricht?
Ooh, I don't have numbers on that. I don't know if you.
I kind of have.
Yeah, but it's- yeah, but it's-
approximate.
Yeah, but
number.
I don't think we should talk about approximates because it all depends on where you live, what you're doing, what your lifestyle is.
If you're
So
going
this
out
is-
a lot.
Exactly. It depends on so many factors. I think there are numbers you can find online with general ideas, but it's also with inflation and every year.
And
things-
housing can go from like 300 to 700.
Exactly. There are so many ranges, so I don't think we can put an exact number on that.
Where is Clara from? Does she say?
Castillo? I don't know.
Okay. That might make
It
a
also
difference.
depends, of course, where
Yeah.
you're from. Of course,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Bulgaria being a
Yeah,
bit of a
it's cheaper country.
yeah. No, that's
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can for the money I'm paying here, I can get a whole apartment there.
Exactly,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Any other questions from your side? Because I still have some.
is there a library in the psychology and neuroscience building? Yes, there is. It's the big FHML library, the Randwick one.
It's actually a really pretty one.
Yeah, it's better than the university one.
Okay. Are Dutch classes mandatory for international students? I've never heard that one. Like, I don't think we have that
No,
issue here.
There's no mandatory
No.
Dutch classes.
No, there is a free one that you can take, and it's like I think 1 month or 2 months of Dutch, and you learn the basics. You learn how to read it, I would say, how to introduce yourself, the most important things, and you can build up from there on. I went to the Dutch class, and I feel like now I'm not wondering what the sign, like the labels in the supermarket mean.
That's
Yeah.
actually quite useful.
Yeah, and I don't have to text my friends, what does this mean? What am I buying?
And maybe a question then to you, Velina, still is like, how does being an international student feel at Maastricht University?
Well, there's a lot of internationals here.
Mm.
So I don't know, even Dutch people, they also try to accommodate with us. So even in the supermarket, sometimes they just speak English to me out of nowhere. You know, they don't know if I'm Dutch or not, but they just speak English.
It's easier.
Yeah, and all of my friends speak English. It's not a bad place. I mean, you have to get used to the weather, especially from the people coming from the Caribbean or something, which
yeah,
they're used to a lot of sun, so some might get vitamin D deficiency. But I've heard of
You've
it.
heard about that, okay.
Yeah, but also the biking. You need to know how to bike because eventually you're gonna have to.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming to me now that I have to bike, like the past 2 weeks, but yeah.
Okay. Can I visit the university anytime outside of the open days? I think you can. You always can.
You just cannot enter the libraries because you
That's
need a
true.
student
You need a
card
student
like
card, but you can even ask for a visitor's pass. So it's there's many opportunities.
Yeah.
You can always walk through the city. I think that's also nice about Maastricht is that you know the buildings are all strewn about. You can walk wherever and you can find new stuff.
Yeah.
But our universities are public buildings, right?
They are,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you can enter.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Whenever you like, can. During open.
So even if you don't make it to an open day, okay, I guess we're gonna try again.
We're gonna try again for those alumni videos. They keep on trying it.
Time.
Oh, all right. I don't know if they're.
Oh.
I think it's really important to find a job that suits your interests and your talents. And I think when you plan ahead your future, then it's easier to find a job that fits that profile and makes you happy in life. Tonight I'm gonna participate in the Coach Cafe. I want to get feedback from professionals if they see me doing that job and which kind of skills are involved in that job.
I would like to help others, so students who are in a position like me before, to help them to find, okay, what is my talent, what is my dream, where do I want to go, what are the concrete next steps that I want to take. I also get inspired by hearing the different stories from the different people, and with that also helps me also to develop myself and also to give back more even to the community.
I get so much positive energy from all the students and hear about their dreams and their future plans.
They surprise me in their stories and in their ambitions. I think that's mainly also formed because of the social media input they receive, and from that they create an image of which what they want to become. I think it's my role to help them guide that, help them adapt that, help them to challenge that with it.
Just by using the people you have met tonight, asking them what you need, it can bring you a lot of context.
Yeah, I would like to get in contact with somebody who does consumer behavior research.
Yeah, I know people with a background in psychology that work at Harley Davidson or Danone, and they are really about consumer behavior.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the evening. It was a really informal atmosphere, which I really liked. I learned a lot about my talents and also about my interests. Also, using the live LinkedIn, I got two very valuable connections, which I can now contact to proceed on my ideal job or the job that I'm looking for. And it was really easy to talk to the coaches, but also to the other participants. So, yeah, for me it was really a valuable evening.
Hi guys, welcome back to a new academic year. With the introduction days just days behind us, we're not only welcoming the new students, but also our alumni. Once a year, Maastricht University organizes an alumni day, and this year we have it straight at the beginning. Today we're going to show you what's going to happen, we're going to show you some of the lectures, and we're actually going to interview some of the people that survived Maastricht University. Have a look. Hi guys, this is Rianne. She is an alumni from 2002. What did you study?
I studied medicine.
So you're a doctor?
I'm a doctor, yes.
Cool. And you stayed within the region, or
Yeah.
what brings you back to the Alumni Day?
Well, I live and work here as a doctor, yeah.
Okay.
As a youth health physician.
Okay, do you also teach for the university?
Sometimes, not regularly.
Oh, so you're
Yeah.
an alumni and a lecturer actually.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Okay, what do you expect of today? What draws you to this event?
I'm very interested in the inspirational talks to see what others have studied, because I think medicine is really like this small path that you follow, and there's a lot going on in the world that you don't see when you follow your own study.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious for other alumni.
So you just graduated not too long ago. Why are you already back?
Well, Maastricht is a great city. Can't stay away for too long. Lots of great people, lots of things to do.
And I just started my master degree, so
Okay.
kind of have to be back.
Okay. Hi guys, this is Chris. Chris is not only an alumni, he's also one of the speakers today.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what are you going to present?
I'm going to present 3 different topics. One is Brightlands, the other one is best practices for startup ecosystems.
Okay.
And then the third one is specific to the project that I'm working on, which is the new startup accelerator for Limburg.
Okay.
Yeah. What I like about my time here is that I started when I was 27 with my master's in this building, and what it did for me was kind of help me revisit critical thinking and thinking scientifically, where I think that's the biggest takeaway that I have from the university is really making sure that my thinking is on point. And it's a good thing that I would always recommend for people in their late 20s. If you haven't gotten a master's, go get a master's. And if you're American and want to get a master's, do it in Europe and do it at Maastricht University.
Hi guys, the Alumni Day is almost finished. We're going to leave you here. The sessions are still taking place, but we don't want to disrupt the people too much. Afterwards, a barbecue is taking place for our alumni. Who knows, maybe I'll be there at some point, and maybe you as well. See you at the next episode. Ciao guys.
We're now back again. So if you're just joining us, this is Maastricht University Live, a Master's edition. We've been talking for the past 50 minutes about, well, career prospects, about Maastricht in general. And we still have a few questions left that we want to answer. I think you had one from...
Yeah, from Laura. She would like to know if there are African students or an African student association, and there are students from everywhere around the world that we have here. We have a very broad, international student
Community.
Exactly.
I was looking for the word. And from what I understand, there is a small African community here, but we're looking into ways to bring more students from there here, as we are with everywhere else. You know, we want to keep the diversity up, so everyone feels at home here. And so there is an African presence here. So if that satisfies your question.
Then another question that was asked is, how many teaching hours are there in a week compared to lectures, tutorials? I don't know what it is for you in your studies, but for me at least it was 12 contact hours in a week, and then you are expected to do 25 to 35 hours, I think, of work around that.
Yes, mine is the same.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's most of the time the same amount of hours that people work. And then for the masters, it's maybe a little bit more, but not that much more, I think. Then another question that we have, what is social life like in Maastricht? Well, I don't know, maybe you can start?
Social life.
Social life, yeah.
Well, there are parties every week. So I guess there can be social. Also, there's a lot of cafes. We even have a cat cafe, which is a great way to bond with people. Also, we have different other entertainment places like Glow Golf.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, well, we live a boring life. And yeah, so I don't think life here is that boring if you try and go out and, you know, make some contacts. If you just stay at home and just say, oh, there's nothing to do here, you won't have anything to do. You're going with that mentality. So you need to go out there and, you know, not be afraid to approach people.
Yeah, I think it's basically the same for me as well. Like, I'm also part of an association, so I have enough stuff to do apart from work, social life, association, studying, and trying to balance it all out a little bit, over time. But I think it works out really well. Then there is a question of how many hours of compulsory attendance are there per week in a day? Okay, we already kind of answered that, but it's like, I don't know about the attendance in your study, but
Biomedical sciences?
yeah, exactly.
It's basically 100%.
Okay, so you have to be there all the time compulsory. Okay, because what I remember from European studies at FASOS, they said like you don't have to be there, but it's recommended for passing your exams.
No, for us we do have to be there. If we miss, we have practicals, and if we miss one practical, we have to redo it at the end of the course. And tutorials, we can miss 1 or 2 because we have 1 course per period. Because you have 6 periods and you have 1 course per each period in 1 exam, which I think is very nice because you can focus on that 1 subject that you're studying at the moment. But that's specifically for biomedical sciences. From what I know, I think FASOS have more courses during 1 period.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so it depends.
Then also question is, what happens during the introduction week at Master's University? So we have this week called Income, which is attended by both bachelor and master students alike. So everyone can come there and actually be introduced to new friends, new experiences, and also new places. I don't know, did you do it when you came here?
Yeah, I did.
Same here. I think it was an amazing week. Like, it was really learning new people, a new experience, but also getting adapted into the city, which was actually perfect for finding the right spots. And you were guided by people that are already studying here, so they knew where you had to go for the nice coffees, where you had to go for a nice beer and have a good laugh. And I think that's really nice about this introduction week.
Yeah, and there's food.
Yes. free. I think it was a barbecue back then.
There's a lot of things. You get sandwiches, you get like coupons for stuff, and basically I think that they also take you to different places in the city. Like we went to this museum next to the river.
Yeah. Bonifante.
Yeah, and we had a silent disco there. And that was fun. And you do meet people at the beginning. It's very difficult coming from another place, another environment to get used to it, to the new place, and you might feel a bit depressed. So I think the constant presence of.
I think we should. I like that, but we should also say something like one final thing before we're gonna go to the wrap up, because we're almost done with the live stream. Okay. Is what is the number 1 reason you would recommend Maastricht University? Maybe from everyone's perspective. I quite think that. Maybe start with
with me.
Yeah.
What is the one reason you would recommend Maastricht University? Well, I think, I'm gonna say the thing everyone keeps saying, the PPL, but that's because I'm just appreciating how much it's helping me with studying and understanding things. And you meet some great people.
Yeah. Jessie, maybe you...
Yeah, I think I would then also say the PBL.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have to say something else. Why would you have to choose Maastricht University? I think you have to choose Maastricht University because it's the youngest university in the Netherlands. It makes it a very vibrant, very entrepreneurial environment to be in. I think the programs offered are top notch, and you can really you meet the best professors. And I think services, especially for international students, are very good.
Okay.
So, and Maastricht is a fun city.
I think I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay.
And I think that's the reason we can say, we're going to wrap up. I think what we've learned in the last hour, if you haven't listened, don't worry, or you're just joining us right now, is that a master's program is always good to do, right? After a bachelor, just do a master's. It's way better for your career opportunities. And there are lots of things to choose from, but it makes it a lot more practical to have a master and then look for jobs while you're doing that master, and also consider your jobs when you're looking for masters, right? That's what we discussed. And Denise, you said Maastricht University helps people to find jobs while they're studying.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
And we stay in touch after your studies.
Exactly.
That's important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also that there are many, I think what we've learned is that there are many opportunities in the region, in the 100 square kilometer range. There are many people staying here as well. And it's just like a lot of people find work in line with their study. Not everyone, but most people do. And I think that leaves me to thank all of my panel members here. Thank you, Denise, thank you, Jesse, thank you, Velina, for all the things you've done and for answering the questions. I hope you will...
What do students have to do, or prospective students, if they have more questions that we couldn't answer now?
So you can go to study@maastrichtuniversity.nl, and we'll have a link at the bottom of the screen at the moment, hopefully. And the next, the BOD, or the Masters Open Day that we're having is at the 7th of March, so please come if you're interested. But we'll also have another live stream in March as well, where we're going to talk about all the 10 study fields at Maastricht University, the 60+ programs, and everything surrounding it. So we've already talked a little bit about housing, a little bit about all the things that come with becoming a master's student here, but it will go more in depth then. So if you have any more questions, do not hesitate to ask them, and that leaves me with a nice afternoon. Have a nice afternoon. Goodbye. I don't know if we're done, but I've...
Are we?